action. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Extra Time Podcast with me, Ethan. I'm joined as usual by Matthew and Youssef. There's loads to get into this week. It was a draw at Stamford Bridge, a controversy in Brighton's game against West Brom, and a spicy relegation battle seems to be coming on. Let's start at the bridge then, with Manchester United versus Chelsea. Let's start with United. So, again, another draw against another big club. If Manchester United want to go on to win the league, maybe next season or the season after, do they have to improve their form against the big six? Do you want to go, Youssef?
Yeah, they definitely have to be honest, because it's very disappointing because these are points that they're dropping. Because if you think about it, big six, they tend to draw a lot of them, so they're dropping maximum 18 points, which could be the difference between winning the title and getting a Europa League spot. So they really need to fix up against the big six. And I also feel like it's a lack of discipline as well.
Yeah. It's also maybe possibly going a bit too defensive. The mentality at the moment seems on the pitch like getting a draw against Chelsea or getting a draw against Arsenal is the mindset. That's what they want. They want to get a draw. A point is good. But if you think Arsenal's like, it's at the moment it's like playing Wolves or Crystal Palace or Aston Villa. I'm not going to say Leeds because that would be a derby. It's a bit different. But Matthew, do they have to think more attacking minded and go for the win in those games?
Yeah, I mean they've played out of the big six. They've played nine. They've played 9 games against the big six, and they've scored in 2 of them. 7 have been goalless. 7 they have not scored in. And that is just ridiculous. You have to be scoring in the big games, otherwise you can't challenge for the title if you can't compete with the big boys. And if they want to be one of the big boys, if they want to be challenging for the title, getting Champions League every year, then they've got to start picking up these results there, because they can't keep relying on Bruno Fernandes all the time, Paul Pogba. They need to score. And I think they need to stop worrying about their defence so much, because Harry Maguire, he's awful. You can just leave it there. You have to focus. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he focuses too much on the defence and not enough on the attack, and they really need to sort it out, because against the big six, they've been doing awful.
Definitely, 100% agree with you there, Matthew. If they want to challenge, they've got to do so in the mindset of champions. Man City wouldn't go to Chelsea and sit back, and when they get a draw, like I saw the likes of Mason Greenwood almost pumping his fist in the air as if it's something to celebrate, getting a draw against a side that's below you in the league, a good 6 points behind them in the league. So poor from Manchester United. For Chelsea though, haven't lost in 9 under Thomas Tuchel. He looks a very rigid manager. He looks old-fashioned German managing. What do you guys think of Tuchel so far? Do you think he'll last long? Matthew, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think he will, because he focuses on 2 things. He focuses on possession and not conceding, and I mean that's really paid off in like their last games. They haven't conceded for 5 games, and that was against Sheffield United, where they still won. So like they don't concede very often, and they keep having the ball. But what I will say, they have to do more with the ball. When they have the ball, you can see them. They've played a lot of teams. They've had 70%, 80% possession, and they can't score. And what's the point in having it? It's like Youssef saying about Liverpool. What's the point in having all that possession? And like Leeds as well. What's the point in having all that possession if you can't create chances and can't score from those chances you do make?
Yeah, definitely agree with you there, Matthew. So where is Chelsea's aim to be heading top 4? It's got to be, hasn't it? One point behind West Ham.
Yeah,
definitely. Do you think they'll get it?
I actually don't.
No, you root
I
for
think
West Ham?
I think West Ham will stay solid. I'm not gonna lie.
They do look strong.
I think Liverpool. I mean, their goal at the moment has to be just to at least get Europa because they're in a bit of a sticky situation at the moment. They haven't got people performing like they usually do, and Alisson has obviously not been in good form, and obviously the sad news that his father has died won't help that. So, I mean, it's quite a hard time for Liverpool. Obviously, they've been hit with injuries. They haven't dealt with it well. They could have dealt with it a lot better, but I mean, Everton are looking really good at the moment. Obviously, Tottenham with the 4-0 win, only 1 point behind them as well. I mean, they.
On the point of Alisson there, Matthew, Alisson is not starting tonight in his game against Sheffield United. So I presume Alisson will either be in Brazil with his family, which I doubt because he's coronavirus, or he'll be taking a bit of time to himself, not on the bench either. So
Yeah, definitely.
Poor time. Our thoughts with him and his family at this very sad time. Obviously, his father passing away in the week. So let's move on then. So we were talking about West Ham a bit earlier. Man City looked as good as usual against West Ham, but it's got to be that's a positive result for West Ham, isn't it? 2-1 against City gives them real confidence going into the almost the home run to the season. What do you guys think on that? Is that a good result for West Ham?
I mean, definitely. Well, I wouldn't say they'd be happy with it, but I mean, because they really did give City a run. Their money, they didn't let them play any of the football they wanted. They pressed them high, they pressed them well and effectively, and Man City really struggled to win that game. Obviously, their two centre backs having to score both goals again.
Yeah, we should probably touch on them. The centre back pairing has to be what has given them the title in a way. Diaz has come in and he's looked very, very strong, hasn't he? Man City's recruitment has been pretty impressive. With that one, him coming in from the Portuguese league, inexperienced, but you can tell the leadership is there because he was captain at 19 for Benfica, I think it is. So that is impressive leadership. You can tell he is almost the unsung captain in a way. And Stones as well has to be given massive credit for coming back from what can only be described as a bit of a slump over the past year or so. Youssef, what do you think on Manchester City's centre-back pairing? They've got to be the best centre-back pairing in the league, right?
Yeah, without a doubt. And when you also look at like the backup players, like Laporte and Ake, that if they were playing together, anyone would say, "Oh, that's a top 5 centre-back pairing as well." So it's very impressive what they've got there. And yeah, you have to say fair play to Guardiola because people doubted that he could change his play style, to be able to defend our high level, but he's done it. And yeah, City look invincible.
So we are going to ask this question again. Quadruple City, can you do it? Because you can't really see anyone beating them, can you? Can they do it?
I mean, it seems more and more likely by the game, but I mean, let me just touch on what you're saying about the centre backs. They say a good defender doesn't have to defend because they lead their midfield and guide them to do so well that they can make the tackles and they don't have to. And I think that's what Diaz has really brought into the team very well.
Yes, definitely 100% agree with you there, Matthew. So on the front of Manchester City winning the quadruple, they've got Mönchengladbach on the 16th of March, Tuesday, 16th of March. Obviously going in with a 2-0 aggregate win lead over them. FA Cup wise, they've got Everton in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. And that's directly after their Champions League game. So that's on the Saturday, 20th of March. And then Carabao Cup, obviously, in the final against Tottenham. But let's talk about Tottenham now then. Spurs, they looked very strong today against a poor Burnley side, it has to be said. But when you've got the likes of some of the best players, you've got Son, Moura, Bale, and Kane. So that's 4 basically some of the best attackers in the league. There's not a lot that Tarkowski and me can do, really, is there? How impressed were you by Tottenham today?
I'll let Yusuf touch on this first.
Honestly, they were just raining bullets at that goal. Tottenham were just incredible.
Mm.
Honestly, they could have made it 6 or even more. They were just like, they took complete control of the game. I know, like, it's not a Liverpool side. It's not like a West Ham fighting for Champions League side. It's not one of those. But Tottenham were very impressive, and specifically one guy, Gareth Bale. He stole the show. To be honest, he was just incredible.
You saw glimpses of the watching myself. I saw glimpses of the Gareth Bale that I haven't seen since 2016 for Wales or for Real Madrid in that year, or maybe from the 2018 Champions League final where he scored that amazing overhead kick. The assist for the Kane goal as well was a beautiful cross. He looked back to his best, didn't he? Obviously, only playing 70 minutes. I think that's the way to go, isn't it? You can't expect him to play 90. So, I told you he was going to start, though, didn't I? Didn't start him against.
Yeah.
So, there we go. So Spurs, this is one of the interesting ones. In 9th now, on 39 points, 5 points off Chelsea in 5th, and 6 points off West Ham in 4th. So, where do they go? The Merseyside teams above them in Liverpool and Everton. Matthew, why don't you go? Tottenham, where do you think they should be aiming for Champions League? What's the best route? Is it through the Europa League, or what do you think?
Well, I think at first you got to be realistic. Obviously, they haven't been on good form before this game, so I mean they've got to be focusing now purely on Europe, and then once they get by those places, they can be thinking, right, okay, we've been playing at a sustainable level that can get us Europe. Maybe can we push for Champions League now? And I think Jose, he always says, I just take it one game at a time, and I think if they carry on doing that, I think they could definitely. I think they could get Europa League, and they might get Champions League. I don't think they will. And what you were touching on Gareth Bale, like people will say, oh, his first goal was so easy, but he's made a brilliant run for Son to do that pass, and he still has a lot of work to do from there. He's outstretching, like he can't reach the ball easily, and it was a beautiful run from him. So you have to give him credit for that goal as well, because you can't just say it was an easy goal, because he's done quite a lot of the work there.
Yeah. Looking towards the end of the season, if they want to be getting Champions League, either through Europa League or the Premier League, to finish in the top 4, obviously. They've got Dynamo Zagreb in the next round, which is the round of 16 in the Europa League. That you would say that possibly, who would you say are favourites for the Europa League at this point? Yusuf, Matthew.
Yeah, Yusuf.
Yusuf,
Yusuf.
Yusuf, you there?
Oh, yeah. I was just having a bit of connection. Could you please repeat the question?
Who's favourite for the Europa League for you?
I'm gonna have to put like Chelsea there, of course. I genuinely think West Ham's gonna drop a bit, so I'm gonna go with West Ham's the favourite.
We meant the competition.
Oh, it's actually. Oh, I'm crazy.
Don't worry. So yeah, it's out of probably Man United, Arsenal, Tottenham, and then
thinking.
AC Milan or Roma. Ajax in there as well, or Rangers. But
yeah, it's actually really tight this year.
Mm.
I'd say I can, if everything goes right and these two teams don't face before the final, then the final's going to be United Tottenham, and it all comes down to. I'm actually going to back Tottenham, because if you have a fully, prepared Gareth Bale, then Tottenham can go pretty far this season. So I'm gonna go.
I'm looking at the tournament kind of where you can see who will be playing each other. So if Tottenham win and Man United win, they will be facing each other. but Manchester United have to overcome the hurdle of Zlatan Ibrahimovic's AC Milan, whereas Arsenal on the other side of the draw, so will not face Manchester United or Spurs or Rangers until the final. I've got Olympiacos, and then we'll play either Roma or Shakhtar Donetsk. So, I would probably go for Man United to be favourites just based on this season. But then you look at their record in big games. It's going to be a tight one. It's possibly the season could be more entertaining than Champions League.
I'd have to disagree with more than Champions League, to be honest. But yeah, it will be more entertaining than normal.
If Man City are on top form throughout, they will walk it, I reckon.
But you still have teams like Bayern, PSG. You can't forget them.
Yeah.
There are a lot of top sides in the Champions League. Like, you can't count anyone out. And you've got dark horses like Atletico and Chelsea. So
Atletico lost to Chelsea in the week there, didn't they? Anyway, let's look. So on Spurs, if they want to get Champions League, they've got a bit of a nasty period around April, start of April time. They've got Manchester United, then they've got Everton, and then they've got Sheffield United, which is they should beat. Then Leeds, who could be a tough opponent. Then they've got Wolves, Villa, pretty relatively easy games. And then they got Leicester on the final day. Now that could be a big one when it comes to Europa/Champions League, because Leicester lost this weekend again. They lost 3-1 to Arsenal. Disappointing performance from Leicester there. It feels weird to say this, even though they're in third. It happened last season. Will it happen again? Them slowly slipping out of the top four. What do you reckon, Yusuf?
I think of course it's going to be entertaining, no matter what. But Leicester, there's something about them which you like. It's not that like with City, we know that they're not going to get beaten, but Leicester just seems so strong. Like, they play as a team, and you can't play as a team, and you might not have great individuals, but Leicester's got a great team, to be honest, and like they're both good when it comes to attacking and defense. So it's going to be close. I mean, if they can drop. I'll be honest, they could drop because of how tight top 8 teams are. But I'm going to back them to stay in it. I'm going to back them to stay in the top 4.
Lovely. Matthew, what do you think? Will Leicester slip away, or is this their year for the Champions League?
Well, I think it's ridiculous. It's one loss. You got to look at the bigger picture. Their last 5 games, they've got 10 points. They're not exactly slipping off. I mean, obviously, they have took a disappointing result to Slavia Prague in the Europa League just before the Arsenal game, but they've got a nice run. The next 3 games are nice, and then they've got a tough 3 games, and then quite a nice 3 games again. They have Burnley, Brighton, then Sheffield United, and you'd expect Leicester to get 9 pretty easily there, but then they've got a Manchester United in second, Man City in first, and a West Ham in fourth. These are some fantastic teams. Obviously, Man United haven't been picking up many points against the big teams, but I mean, what you can say is that they don't seem to lose those games. They seem to draw a lot of them 0-0. So, but I think Leicester, the attacking threat they have, I think they're going to struggle to keep a clean sheet in that game.
Some entertaining games midweek. Liverpool are facing Chelsea. You nervous about that, Yusuf, after Chelsea's recent run of form?
I'm nervous about anything right now. Generally, no matter who we're playing, it's going to be a tough game. So, but yeah, Chelsea have been great recently. So yeah, I am worried about that, to be honest.
Right. So I'm just gonna take a little look back. Let's go back a couple of weeks. Premier League predictions halfway through the season. Mansour Berry puts Brighton 19th. You two both ripped out with me. You had a massive go at me. You're like, oh, Brighton never. Then Brighton went on to beat Spurs and Liverpool, and now they've lost to West Brom. They are looking poor in the league, down in 16th. only 3 points off the relegation zone with Fulham down there. Boys, are you starting to regret not putting Brighton in your bottom three?
Again, stop being ridiculous. They've lost one game. Are you stupid?
No.
Like they've lost one. Oh,
They've
well,
lost. They haven't lost. They haven't won in their
they
past
won their past five,
five
but that's
games.
besides the point. That is besides the point, my friend. Brighton and Hove Albion. They don't play. So they try.
They try.
It doesn't really work. I'm not. If I'm a Brighton fan, I'm not looking forward to the next fixtures. Got Leicester, Southampton, Newcastle, Man U, Everton, and Chelsea.
Newcastle could be a massive one, because if you look at it, Newcastle are joint points with Brighton right now, and you've got to look at it. Brighton, they have looked shocking attacking wise. They've got to change their style of play. We touched on it like proper early in the season. Brighton need to change their style of play. They are struggling to score. Obviously missed 2 penalties today. That must have a detrimental effect on the dressing room. A huge effect on the dressing room. They've struggled to score. They scored against Crystal Palace early on, and then failed to back it up late in the game. Again, poor defensively. So they've got to be disappointed. Brighton, obviously, they've struggled up top. Recently, they've been having a lot of attacking threat, but they haven't scored. They play beautiful stuff, but they're not getting the wins. They're not getting the points on the board. And if you look at it now, Fulham, they're on form, and I think Fulham are staying up. I've said Fulham to stay up in the predictions. Fulham got Spurs next week, then they got Liverpool, then they got Man City, then they got Leeds, and then they're out of a rough patch of games. If they can get through that without getting absolutely hammered, they should be fine. I think Fulham will stay up, and I think Brighton will go down. But what about West Brom, guys? What about West Brom in 17th? No, in 19th with 17 points. Are they down? Are they gone? Matthew?
Probably. I mean, they don't exactly play glamorous football, and they don't exactly have. They just don't have good players at all. They're 9 points away from safety with the worst goal difference in the whole league. I cannot see them coming back from this. But on Brighton again, they've scored 1 goal in their last 3 matches. I want you guys to guess their expected goals, their XG.
Oh, God. I don't know. About 0.5? If that's how XG works.
What did you put?
0.5.
They've had 7.79 expected goals in their last 3 matches.
Oh my!
And they've scored 1.
Oh my God. That is shocking.
Neil Maupay, man.
Their second highest goal scorer is Lewis Dunk. Their centre back. That is shocking. That is shocking.
The only goals their best striker scores, Neil Maupay, the only goals he scores are penalty, and half the time he misses those.
They've scored more penalties than they've scored corners or set pieces or free kicks or penalties.
That's awful.
They're closing up on missing goal as well.
Yeah, exactly. Attacking wise, they are shots on target per match. They're 14th, so they're pretty good. They're getting the shots on target, but then big chances missed. They're very high. They're very high on big chances missed.
There are 4 big chances against a very struggling West Brom, and they don't have a great goalie either in Sam Johnson. He's not great. He's okay, but he's not that good.
Yeah, and also they're struggling. They're struggling not only at the other end with the penalty spot, but they're also at the other end on the penalty spot. They've conceded 7 penalties, which is the second highest in the league behind Liverpool on 8. So, what Brighton, do they change their tactics or do they stick to their ways? What do you think, Yusuf?
I mean, if they want to stay in the league, they have to change it. But I don't know if Graham Potter, he needs to try to change it at this point because he might not have the ability to. He might not have the players that he needs to change it because Neil Maupay his finishing has been abysmal this year as well, and he's their number 9. So if your number 9's not playing well, how are you supposed to get goals? That's where I can see his side of defending, but for his forwards to get confidence, he's gonna have to play more attacking so that they can get goals. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, they're gonna have to change it if they want to stay in the Prem. Like it's now or never basically, because you're not gonna lose anything
True.
if you do it.
True.
I mean, Brighton do play quite attacking. They don't press well. Well, I don't know because Leeds press. This is gonna come out really bad. But Leeds press really high, like very hard and stuff. And I don't really look at it from other teams' perspectives. So I feel like they don't press at all, really. But they do try and play some nice football. I think I'm not sure their tactics have to change, but something has to change. Whether it's the players or something, because something's not working. I think what they really missed in the January transfer window was a clinical goal striker, because they don't have one. Danny Welbeck, he's missed a pen. They've hit the woodwork twice from both pens. It's ridiculous, really. They can't score.
Yeah, I massively agree with you there, Matthew. So let's touch on the controversy at Brighton. So if you're listening and you don't really know what happened, so free kick edge of the box, Lewis Dunk, he claims he asked the referee, "Can I take it quick?" He then bends it into the bottom corner. Keeper should have saved it, but the keeper wasn't concentrating. The ref gives the goal. Does he give the goal in the first place, or does he?
No, he disallows it. But
disallows it.
Lewis Dunk doesn't just claim that he said the referee said he could play it quick, but he also blows the whistle. So all the Brighton player, he's just thinking, well, he's blown the whistle. Clearly, I can go. But yeah.
And then he then allows it because he's realised, well, I've messed up here because I blew the whistle. But then he gets disallowed again because he blows the whistle again before the ball hits the net, and that's the law. The law is that if it hits the net, you whistle second before it hits the net, then it doesn't matter. You can. It's disallowed goal. So, but surely he knows that and disallows the goal in the first place, because that's got to be simple law. When you're doing your referee's courses, that this is the rule for set pieces, this is the rule for free kicks. If this happens, then you can disallow the goal. But he hasn't. That's the issue. The issue the Brighton players have is he gave a goal. I don't know. And he went over to look at it as well, didn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, what? I don't get it. How can he must have accidentally blown it. He must have, because why else? The keeper's on his inspecting his post, to see where the wall is and stuff, and he's just blown the whistle saying he can go. So surely he didn't actually mean that. And then
yeah,
I mean, he didn't even mean to blow it before it went in the goal, because he should know the rules, like you say. So it's either he doesn't know the rules or he accidentally blew it twice, which I think is ridiculous.
Also, Lewis Dunk has then said that he has stated the ref, as he said, "Can I take it quick?" And the ref said yes. I mean, that could be rubbish. That could be nonsense. But you never know. Right, we're gonna have to wrap it up there then. But before we go, you lads, name your bottom 3. Who's going down? Youssef, why don't you go first?
Okay, sure. Sheffield. Yeah, they're definitely going down. I'm not gonna place them. I'm just gonna say West Brom.
Yeah.
And you know what? I've been impressed by Fulham recently. They play good football, and Brighton are terrible in front of goal. So I'll back Ethan, and I'll say Brighton are going to get relegated as well.
Yeah. So I'll go Sheffield United, West Brom, And then I'll go Brighton with Newcastle to escape narrowly and Fulham to escape comfortably. Matthew, what are you going for?
Well, I mean, Liverpool might avoid the drop narrowly. I think there'll be a really tough battle there.
Shut up.
I mean,
Shut
I think West Brom is a bit controversial. West Brom, Sheffield, and I think Newcastle will go down.
Ooh.
I
I think it's going to be between Newcastle and Brighton. I think Fulham will get out.
Yeah, so do I. I think Brighton will just change something in their nick of time and just, I don't know, find someone good.
Buy a striker.
Yeah.
Right, so we'll wrap it up there then. We'll see you guys we'll be doing another one on Friday. I think we're going to do a VAR special. We're going to listen to experts talk about VAR and, well, hear the full story, do a bit of research into VAR. If you want to give that a listen, feel free to do so. So that'll be out Friday. If you want to get into contact us in between, give us an email at etpodcast4@gmail.com. Or you can DM us on Instagram. We'll read all of them. Is at Extra Time Podcast, and then same on Twitter. We'll be doing a lot more on Twitter than we used to be doing. So go and check us out over there because it's much easier for us to get stuff out to you on Twitter, and we'll be doing much more engagement stuff. So yeah, head over there, sort that out. Have a good one. Until then, see ya.